hey, man, what happened with you guys? And I know all the ones you played on, this year was special, not only because it's a Ryder Cup, it's time for us to win, but being in Minnesota, so it was home turf for you. Can you kind of take us through the process of both how you got, just take us through the process of this last year with the Ryder Cup?
Well, first, I'd love to listen to you guys talk the whole time because your stories are great, and I'm glad to be up here with you. But yeah, this Ryder Cup team was something truly special. I'm going to go to the end first before I go to the beginning. But I knew it was special when on Sunday morning, when our team should have been nervous and our guys should have been nervous, and everybody should have been kind of uptight about the singles. We were 3 points ahead, but the last time that we had a lead, we were 4 points ahead in Chicago and got beat. So here we are, 3 points ahead, and I'm thinking, how are these guys going to react? And I get up Sunday morning, and there was a group text that the team had started way back when, and it was just information, like you had information or something to say or encouragement or something funny, and just it sent it to return the cup. So every morning you get up and you look at the group text, return the cup, and there'd be something interesting. So this Sunday morning with the 3-point lead and everything on the line, the first thing I saw on Return the Cup was a message from Jordan Spieth. It was a simple message that said, "Fate whispers to the warrior, you cannot survive the storm. The warrior whispers back, I am the storm." Okay. So the team went out that day and obviously played great. So with attitudes like that, how do you not do well? But you're talking about the whole thing about team. You can't do it alone. And I think what I would say more than anything, if I could think about all the Ryder Cup teams that I've been a part of in the past, and whether it be playing or a captain or an assistant captain, I always thought that we never had a click within our team. And when I was a captain, I remember talking to John Wooden for 3 hours, and I asked him a simple question: what ruins a team quicker than anything else? And he said, if you have a click within your team is finished. And so I thought, well, we don't have clicks in our team. I mean, we all get along great. Everybody's friendly, and there's no issues with our team. And I realized this year, for the first time, I realized that the PGA Tour has a pecking order. And you start at the very top. You got Tiger, and you had Phil, and you had this pecking order based upon who you are and where you stood in the PGA Tour. And then when you get down to the 12th best player, American player, he was always below that. And so what we did is we brought this pecking order, I think, onto the Ryder Cup team. And so without even realizing it, there was a click within the team simply based upon the pecking order of the team. And so when I think back through all that, and you can see it, you put so much pressure on the stars, so much pressure on Tiger, so much pressure on Phil, so much pressure on our best players, and almost totally ignoring, all the guys that you were, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. And so this year was different, and for a whole bunch of different reasons. But all I can say is that Davis Love was a great captain. He listens, he is thoughtful, he loves the Lord, he just, he has a perspective and things that go beyond just the golf course, but then he had Tiger as a captain, and he had myself and Stricker and Furyk, and then we'll talk about Bubba later, but everybody's attitude was, I'll do whatever it takes for this team to win. And what it created was this atmosphere where you had 12 guys on the team, and there was just 12 guys. There was 12 guys. There was no stars. There were no number 12. There was no 1, no 11, no 10. It was just 12 guys trying to win. And that's for the very first time ever, I felt like our team played completely as a team.
Were you surprised at Tiger's participation, the amount of buy-in he had?
Well, as a player, he didn't buy in nearly that much.
Yeah, but as a coach,
as a captain, I think I don't know some of the guys as well as others, but there was always the word that you heard, that hey, Patrick Reed is, he's a high maintenance guy, he's feisty, he's powerful, he's strong in his attitudes, and so he could be a problem, so you got to watch out. And Tiger basically said, don't worry about Patrick Reed. I'll take care of Patrick Reed, and he did. The entire time, going way back before the Ryder Cup, it was basically Tiger with his arm around Patrick Reed's shoulder, basically being his mentor. And I'm like, Patrick, I hope you understand, you got maybe the best player in the history of the sport being your mentor for 6 months. And especially that week of the event, it was amazing. So what I saw Tiger do was sensational.
Well, the accusation, the accusation for years was always that the European team, first of all, they play worldwide, but when they are in Europe, they travel together, they stay together. There's not the cliques involved. A lot of them first get their European Tour card, they have a flat in London, they fly in and out, they fly together, they love each other, they seem to enjoy one another, and the Americans were cliquish. So you're saying there was some credence to that? Or yes or no? Because I mean, you played on.
I think without realizing it.
Without realizing it.
Nobody understood it.
Yeah.
Nobody understood it, but you can, looking back, you can see it because you see the differences. You see the differences. I mean, the 99 team that won, it was way different than this team that won. I think we won that time because we were simply just so good, and they weren't quite as good, but we got lucky a little bit. So you think about all the things that happened. And so one of the turning points, I think, for this Ryder Cup team was that we went to Gillette Stadium one night where the Patriots play. They gave us the stadium for the night, the team. It had like a team bonding thing, and Bill Belichick gave a little message to the team. And the two things that I think everybody took away was simply do your job, okay, and put the team first. And he did it in such a way that it was so powerfully important that everybody walked away wearing the hat that said do your job and putting the team first. And so, because getting back to that, when you have a different way of doing it, everybody had the feeling that, hey, I may be Tiger, but I got to be Tiger plus. I may be Phil, but I've got to be Phil plus. I got to be, Bubba, I got to be Bubba plus something. I got to be more than who I am. And what Coach Belichick says, no, just you do your job. You take care of your business, so the guy next to you can take care of his and have confidence, and then put the team first with everything you do. And it kind of, that message became the message within the team. And then there's always something that happens that really puts you over the hump. And I'm probably talking too much, but here's a question: how do you leave the number 6 ranked player in the world off of the Ryder Cup team? Another thing that Coach Belichick said was you got to ignore the noise. Ignore the noise. People don't know. You know, they don't know. So Bubba Watson is number 6 in the world. He's got a caddy who's about number 1 in the world in terms of caddies. How do you leave those guys off the team? Going back, that direction, you got Ryan Moore, who's no superstar in everybody's, world. Everybody looks at Ryan Moore and say, well, there's a superstar. I think he's a great player. I know he's a great player, but here you go. You got a guy who's beaten everybody by a shot around over the last 2.5 months of the season and making all the really key putts. And here's Bubba, who's been struggling with the putter. And it just kind of came to this thing where, Davis and the captains had thought, what, I think for right now, for who we can trust to make that putt when it has to be made, we think Ryan Moore is the guy. And so Davis called Ryan, said, you're on the team, and he called Bubba and said, hey, Bubba, I'm sorry, but you're not. And so we left the number 6 ranked player in the world, 2 times Masters champion, off the team.
And that was a seminal moment, and it had to be in that team. It just felt like it from the outside. He could have gone his way and held a grudge against not only Davis, but the whole establishment's against me. But then he turns and says, this is the greatest moment of his life to some degree. Teddy, maybe you can speak to that behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think, about a month before the whole picking thing, I spoke with his wife, and I felt like God had told me that the best thing that could happen for him was to not be picked. And when it happened, I was actually excited. I know that sounds crazy to people. Like, of course I want to be on the team. I want to be there. You want to compete. But, I'm looking at things bigger than this world, things greater than this world, things to come. And I wanted people to see Bubba Watson, the man, not Bubba Watson, the golfer. And I really thought, Bubba would take it well if he didn't make it. He's always been, if you tell him something, he can look you in the eye and say, you're right, I'm sorry. I mean, he's always been that guy. You can beat him up, but he'll actually take the criticism. And so, before that happened, to me, that was awesome. I love the fact that the way he received it was awesome. He was totally okay with it. He's like, yeah, I'm playing as good, and I'm gonna do everything I can to support it. So then, whenever he got there, and he was so excited. Bubba loves America probably more than anybody I know. I mean, the guy is just can't wait. His dad was a Special Forces Green Beret, and he just has that in his heart. So he was super pumped up. He called me, about every 10 minutes. Oh man, we're doing this, we're doing that, And he said, you should come. And I said, look, I don't want to go because, no assistant captain's ever really brought their caddy, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be a guy that steps on people's toes. And he said, look, man, everybody's asking for you to be here, which is a huge blessing to me. All the caddies want you here, the players. So I was like, okay, if you're sure it's okay. So when I showed up, the coolest part of the whole week for me was Davis Love couldn't even talk to me about the fact that Bubba was there. He was trying to talk to me, but he couldn't hardly even get it out. You know, he was crying. And I saw him cry 3 times that week, you know, just talking about what Bubba did. And that's kind of what we're here to talk about tonight. You know, it's about lowering yourself. It's about being a team player. It's about having others, surrounding others, like you said, your family, you know, encouraged you, your coach. You know, we all need that, and that's what Bubba was able to lower himself. You know, Jesus himself washed the feet of the disciples. You know, he was the greatest ever to be on this earth, and he lowered himself. And that's kind of what you alluded to. That was what made us successful, and I think that's what really gives us success in life.
And Teddy, people don't get that. A lot of people, if you catch walking down the street, maybe you're in here today and you got drugged and drug in here, and somebody says, "Hey, that God is just, how does He allow evil, mean, vengeful, wrathful God?" I mean, there's that perception of the hostility of God, and yet what you're saying took the form of a man that came down and began to wash the creation's feet as the Creator. And Bubba was giving us a little bit of a glimpse. I realize it's infinitely different, but a little bit of a glimpse into the nature of who he is learning to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the greatest opportunity that, you know, I think he's ever had. You know, the two greatest times I've ever seen Bubba, you know, on a golf course is the Ryder Cup, you know, and how he served, how he lowered his own pride and just went and served, made sandwiches, you know, got teas for people. I mean, he became a caddy, basically, you know. That's love, let me tell you. And then one of the other times, early in Bubba's years, this is probably pre-first win, we were at the Memorial. He shot pretty close to 80 one day. I don't think he'd ever shot in the 80s, and he had just the worst day I'd ever seen. But he had the best attitude I'd ever seen. I mean, he couldn't hit the ball where he was looking. He couldn't make a putt. He couldn't chip it. And we walked off the course, and I said, "This is the greatest day I've ever had caddying for you." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because of your attitude, the way you carried yourself." And he said, "Well, I'd rather have a bad attitude and shoot 68. But you know what? I think, you know, those are the moments when you see someone grow that you get excited about, because you know, with that kind of thinking and that kind of talent, what can happen in the future. And you know, I think God has a reason for Bubba to miss this so he could grow as a man. And that was what happened, and I saw that, and I love that. And I only hope that God can change me as much as He's changed my pro. You know, and I only hope to serve in the way that He served, you know. And you know, that's what life is about. You truly can get so much joy from helping someone else achieve their dreams and goals and to support others.
What a paradox. It is a paradox.
Influence that he's gained, I think, with his peers. He could not have gained by winning 10 majors, going 5-0 in any Ryder Cup. There's no amount of influence he could have ever gained that could even come close to what he gained that week. You know, his whole purpose, he told all of us, to the whole team, is that whatever I wanted to do, whatever would be most like Jesus. You know, and so his idea was, I want to go and serve these guys. You know, and so when he talked about the team had come together, and that's like a big, huge cherry on the top of the sundae. And at that point, I kind of felt like this team cannot be beat.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, you know, we're talking about Belichick and team. You're really talking about community. And community is just common unity. It's all that, the etymology of that word is just common unity. So when you have a community, golf is such an individual sport. Bads, tell us a little bit about the community that surrounds you, that allows you to do what you do.
Yeah, I got my wife, you know, that's number one, besides obviously just behind Jesus, but like, she's just a rock, you know, like she's just, she doesn't change, she's always there, she's always supportive, she takes care of the kids, and if I need to go play, like I played probably more in my career this last few years than I have at all, and she's always there. Like this past year, we traveled probably 85-90% of the time together. And she doesn't complain. She's just awesome. You know, she's just, you know that she's always going to be there. Like it's not even like a question in my mind of like how supportive and great she is. You know, like it's not like in the back of my mind thinking, man, I don't think she likes this. You know, that's not even like a little. You know, she just loves it. And and you know, she's a great mom, and yeah, just amazing. And then obviously I got the family. Her family all live here. Her parents and her sisters, and that whole family is just amazing. You know, like to come from Australia to move over here. I mean, it's pretty difficult. And then 4 years later, 4 or 5 years later, I married into the family, and it's been, I mean, they're amazing. You know, really. I mean, my brother-in-laws are like my best friends. You know, like Chris, one of my brother-in-laws, he'll travel with me to stretch me and stuff like that. And he's really like one of my best mates. So to have that as a brother-in-law from a foreign country is just amazing. So just there.